Can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me. Give me some indication that there is life. All I see is gay in chat. Hold on a second. Try to open this in another window. Maybe this will work better. Okay, so you can hear me and there is a bit of a lag. Okay. Homosexuals. I am here. I don't like this lag. Anyways, I am here. Before we start, everyone make sure following me on Twitter at Are They Gay, Tumblr, aretheygayvideos.tumblr.com, Instagram, _Are They Gay_, and that you're subscribed. I know you love this channel. I know this is your daily dose of queerosexualism. That's why you need to subscribe, okay? Please. So there's a problem, everyone. I don't know if you've heard this. Do you guys want to hear about the problem? Yes. I heard some of you are gay. I don't know how I feel about that. I think we have to end the stream because I can't have gay people in my chat. Okay. For real. We're gonna start the live stream. Let's start with Supernatural, okay? Some of us have watched the finale. Some of us have gone 10 years without thinking about Supernatural, and now we're in this hell world of old 2014 Tumblr flashbacks, and it's terrible. I hate living in this world now that I have to wake up and have Supernatural be something I have to think about. I haven't seen Supernatural in so long since the video I first made, 2015, and I mean, when I made that video, I liked Supernatural. I liked it, but I would never, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna like spend 30 hours on Tumblr scrolling through my dashboard. I could do better things. I could do that for X-Men, okay? Charles and Eric, that was the big thing back then for me. I'm not gonna do that for Destiel. But now we're in this gay purgatory, just like Castiel, except he went to super hell, so maybe we're in gay super hell. We are where Castiel is, because they had the audacity, and I give them some credit, okay? Because would I have preferred nothing? Maybe, but we got something, to their credit. You have Castiel looking at Dean and saying, "I love you," in the gayest tone, in the most romantic, sensual, loving way possible. And you have Dean go, I don't even remember what he says. He probably grunts or something. And we had that moment. It went trending during the most important election of our lifetime. It beat the trending on the election. People were going mad. And people got mad. Because immediately after Castiel declares his love, this man has the audacity to die, okay? So you have finally a little bit of queerness in the show that we've been looking for a long time. You've had other queer representation in that show. A lot of it has been Wooloos who have died. Please pay your respects to those Wooloos who have died in Supernatural. But it's unfortunate that a lot of the representation that we get just ends up dying. Not even just dying, going to super hell. Just real icing on the cake. And at the same time, it's not. It wasn't like a super explicit declaration of love. That's not what I mean. I mean, it wasn't like super explicitly gay. So let's say your boomer grandparents are watching Supernatural, and they're like, "Huh, that guy really loves his best friend." They could totally walk away with that perception and be like, "Okay, cool." Uh, Totally just two dude bros sacrificing everything for each other and romantically staring at each other. I mean, that's fine. They could walk away with that perception. But here we have the queer people in the world are like, hey, that's kind of romantic. And that was kind of like a 12-year whatever slow burn. Um, and it's just like so many people want the kiss. Okay, we got all these headlines saying people are gay. We got Valkyrie. Oh, she's bisexual, I guess. We got Sulu who hugged his husband, and then someone in the headline said, "Oh, he's gay." We got Lando Calrissian is pansexual because some writer was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." I mean, great if you want to confirm your characters to be queer, and it's great that you want proclamations of love. Like, great, proclamations of love are great, but it's just so it's like this weird purgatory, and it's so ambiguous and weird that like these queer moments have to be hidden behind a bunch of headlines, or you have to have observed the slow burn to truly understand the entirety of it. And it's a little sad. So a lot of people have been saying this falls under the bury your gays category. And for people who don't know what bury your gays is, it's not just that gay people die, because contrary to popular belief, we are not immortal hell demons. We actually do die. So just gay people dying and queer people dying, that's normal. But the problem is that since society is heteronormative, and most people, at least right now, are straight, everything that's going to be written and is going to have this sort of heteronormative society it has to deal with. So shows just in general are going to have heterosexual main characters, have this sort of bias to them. And because of that, all your side characters, every once in a while, you're going to get a gay side character. Because most main characters are straight. And then because gay people end up being like these side jokes or these side characters that appear once or twice, they're more susceptible to dying. And so we see that trend over time, that there's a lot of queer people that die in media, or even if when they're main characters, a lot of their stories are told as tragedies because straight people like to watch the queer suffer and feel pity, I guess. So that happens a lot. But would you consider Castiel bury your gays? Just the fact that he dies doesn't necessarily make it bury your gays. But I think that if if you're gonna confirm your queer character, and you wanna write a tasteful depiction of it in your show that has a history of killing off queer characters, maybe you should be more conscious. Like, I don't know if you should like go to super hell or whatever, you know? I don't know if maybe the love declaration could just be just give us a little more crumbs, you know? Just a little peck on the lips, a little hug, some a little rubbing on the back, a massage, I don't know, a ice skating duet, something, please. So we aren't left here in this ambiguous realm of, oh, was that gay? They said I love you, but straight people can love, right? Like they can love, right? So it's just a weird, we're put in a weird place. And then so Misha Collins talks about it. He says, "Oh, I don't think it was bury your gays. You know, we didn't mean this to be that sort of. We didn't mean to go in that direction." but he did sort of confirm that it was a homosexual declaration of love. So, once again, it's confirmed explicitly outside the show. Yeah, and then we have a Spanish version of the show, in which Castiel says, "Te amo," and it's so loving. And then Dean says, what does he say? Y mi a tu, or something like I don't know what he says. He says, "I love you too. Y yo ti. Yo a ti." And it's just, how do you explain this discrepancy? Was it a rogue translator? Was there a secret hidden episode that we need to conspiracy our way into searching? What happened? Is there a secret episode of Supernatural where they end up together, they raise kids together, they spend 30 years loving each other in their arms? Who knows? Yoati. I see it in the chat now. Okay, thank you. Alright. So, that's the Supernatural gist. I did a semi-video about it. That video was supposed to be about something else, but then Supernatural happened, which kind of fit in with the ideas of the video. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll just might as well get all the Supernatural clickbait that I can. And so that video talked about Supernatural a bit, and I have more thoughts there. You can look it up on my channel, Last Minute Gays. Watch it and subscribe and check out the merch store. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions that you sent through my Tumblr. If you haven't sent a question yet, there's still time. Go to aretheygayvideos.tumblr.com/ask, and you can submit a question that I might read. Okay, let me just scroll here. Okay. So we have first question here from Anonymous. I'm wondering, what's your opinion on homosexual themes in anime? There is a good deal that is made for straight people, but there does exist queer works by queer people. So I wanted to know your opinion on them. Okay, so sort of queer themes in anime. I once went to Japan for like a month visiting my sister's boyfriend's family and just hanging out in Japan. Great country, great people. There was, when we went to like the pop culture sort of stores, you know, where they have collectibles and things, there's just entire sections dedicated to boys love things. And it's just like this wall of gay twinks hugging each other, and that's something that I expected but also didn't expect. The thing is, as a queer person, when I first got into like watching shows and things, you know, as people do, I really enjoyed yaoi as a young person. Not like the sexual ones, but like the nice ones where people are happy and things. But the thing about yaoi, and I'm gonna pronounce it like that, and don't say anything to me. The thing about yaoi is that you have these like fantastical worlds that are built mostly for straight people to consume, in which the characters, they don't identify as gay, they don't talk about being gay, they don't talk about their queer issues most of the time. There are some exceptions, there's always exceptions, but for the most part it's like this fantastical world that's supposed to be a fantasy, it's supposed to be unrealistic, and for some people that's good, but in other ways, if all of your representation is just cute moments made for straight people to be like, oh my god, gay people, I wouldn't consider that A plus representation. For me, it was like a fantasy. It was like, oh, these two lads having fun, exploring themselves, but it's not like realistic. It's not it's not made with that queer audience in mind, and for those reasons, there are some problematic elements to it. Um, there's also, besides just like yaoi and stuff, there's also a lot of animes that it's hard to say queer bait because I don't know if that's like a more Western phenomenon, but there's a lot of animes that have these moments of like gay tension between characters, and it's just played up, and it's supposed to be like humorous and fun and playful, and some people really like those moments, but you could see them as very malicious. You know, they're like, oh, we're gonna do this cute little gay moment, but never actually talk about the gay aspect of it. It's just, it's not. It doesn't. For those moments, it doesn't feel like true representation if it's just like queer baity, literal fan service, literal bait to get people to be like, oh, this show is kind of gay. I should watch it because there's gay moments, but it's not. It's not always. That's not always the case. So I like I like a lot of queer anime. I remember Number Six. That was a good one because there was like a gay love story, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like the fantasy of yaoi, and there was also Yuri on Ice. We remember that people can think what they want about Yuri on Ice, but it's I mean it's not bad. It's good. There was a kiss with an arm covering the kiss that ruined everything, and that's why the world is terrible now, is because of that arm. But I think it was I think that's a it's a good step in the right direction where you want to get those real stories, and try to get like I don't know, just try to feel like it's just normalized, and like you just get to experience the queerness in a natural way. All right, let's go to the next question. Let us see what it is. Okay, this person, also anonymous. I'd love to know how you got to be so professional in your videos. Are you at film school or something? I'm not at film school. And my videos are not professional. They're a bunch of animated gay people walking across the screen. But yeah, I've been doing videos since like 2009, where I used to post videos of myself reenacting TV shows. When, and from then on, I've just always done sort of YouTube things and video editing. There was a point in my life, in the distant past, in the sweaty, acne-filled distant past, in which I wanted to become a filmmaker, but I don't think filmmaking is my passion now. I'm at school studying sociology, might want to be a professor. If I'm gonna do something creative, it'll probably be something music related. Filmmaking, I love film. I think it's great, but I wouldn't want to make films for a living. That's just not my thing. But I do love making the videos because I love all the queerosexuals. I love talking about them. So to answer your question, it just takes lots of practice over the course of several years, and eventually you get some editing skills, whether they're for good or evil. All right, second question. Did you hear about the Spanish dub, that because they probably got a rough draft of the script, Dean ended up saying "I do too" in response to Cass's "I love you"? This is a theory that I have heard, that because of COVID reschedulings and things and just sketchy things, that there might have been a second unseen script in which all of our gay wishes are fulfilled. Now, whether you think that Rogue Translator was wish fulfillment or literally just some dude being like, I don't know, whatever, we don't have the information right now. personally, I love wish fulfillment. So let's just all pretend that there's a secret gay episode out there. I'm sure whatever gay episode you come up with is better than whatever finale that they premiered. All right. Now another question: are they gay? Yes. But to add to that, but seriously, they continue on. Who are y'all's top 3 ships in any media you consume? All right, I need you all to not make fun of me, okay? In 6th grade, I was really into the Beatles, still am, but that Beatles fandom introduced me to the world of McLennan, John Lennon, and Paul McCartney. I don't talk about it a lot because, Paul McCartney's alive and I don't want to freak him out. I usually just reserve that for very small spaces on Tumblr. But that is still to this day, it's my favorite pairing in my head. But I don't talk about it. It's just so beautiful. Their story, at least their friendship, we can all agree, was beautiful. Second top ship, probably Kirk and Spock. From Star Trek. Great ship. Great. I mean, their story also incredible. Like, Kirk went through all that just for his Vulcan. Oh my god. They've kissed on screen several times through the hands, as Vulcans do. Kirk gave up everything, the love of his life. His number one priority was his ship, and he blew it up for Spock. Okay, enough. I'm done. Third top favorite ship, probably Charles Xavier and Eric Lencher from X-Men. Now, X-Men, I watched the reboots, fell in love with James McAvoy, mostly through his beautiful, silky voice. The way he says, Eric, I love you. Oh, it's just so beautiful. But yeah, I love the rebooted X-Men sort of ship. Cherrick, excellent. I mean, if you just look at the first few ships that I did on this channel, you could probably guess what my favorite ships are. Okay, those are the top 3. Alright, any others? Okay. Alright, so we're going to... those were my priority questions, just because they're great. We're going to start from the bottom. I'm going to refresh this page. Anyone submit questions right now? I'm going to refresh right now. You better submit it. If you don't submit it, you're not getting your question in. Okay, refresh. All right. We probably won't make it through everyone, but we'll try our darnest to get there. Let's go on to the bottom. Okay, I guess it won't let me go to the bottom. Almost. Okay. Who is your favorite animated gay couple, canon or not? My favorite animated gay couple, probably John Lennon and Paul McCartney from the Beatles animated cartoon. But for my real answer, Bubbling, beautiful story. When I was 10, that shit hit hard, okay? I don't know, it's just, I've never read like a Bubbling fanfic or anything, but I just love the story there, because it's just so much emotion, so much character development. It's almost unparalleled, okay? Alright. So, for our next question, we got, hey, quick question from a fellow Latin from good old Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Will I come to Brazil? It's up to you. It's not necessarily about them being gay, but I really want to hear your opinion on the matter. Are you familiar with the whole Honey Lemon debacle about whether or not she was a valid Latin representation on Big Hero 6? Being a white Latin and all. Also, love your show. Thank you. Great research and great job. Thank you. Honey Lemon from Big Hero 6. Have not seen Big Hero 6 in such a long time. Uh, let me just look up Honey Lemon to see if it's true. Oh yeah, it's true. Um, so the thing is, um, I think white Latino or Latin people. I don't know what phrase to use. I'm sorry. White uh, Latinx representation. Uh, I mean, it's still that's still a part of like Latin American culture, and we can celebrate Latin American culture, which has been very underrepresented in mainstream American media. Um, like my mom, she's very white, but she's from Venezuela, has a very Latina experience. Um, my dad's darker, has more indigenous ancestry, but they still share a lot of experiences as being a Latino person in the United States. So it's not like a white Latin American person's experience isn't is there. That doesn't mean there's no overlap with other people. Now that's not to say that uh, people with different skin tones and people with different experiences aren't gonna have unique experiences, unique to maybe being an Afro Latinx person. I mean that's not gonna be the same as someone with lighter skin, of course. Um, but while I think that if they're going to do pursue Latin American representation, um, I wonder how much the writers thought for a second to be conscious. Like, what if maybe we had someone who wasn't white to represent Latin America? What if we had someone with a indigenous ancestry or someone um, who's Afro Latinx? I mean, that's something obviously that should always be considered. Like, how many times has the white Latino story been told? Maybe we shouldn't tell it as much as a different story. Now, it's just difficult to draw that line. So I mean, Honey Lemon, it's I'm not like she's not like I'm not crying over this representation. I don't feel super attached to it. I'm not a white Latina woman, if you haven't noticed. Um, it's just I think that I don't think that you should say, white Latinos are going to be totally removed from the Latino experience, but I think that you should definitely make that effort to put different experiences, the most marginalized experiences, to the front, because those people aren't going to get as much representation as a white Latino person. So, was she valid Latino representation? Yeah, I think she's valid Latino representation. She has the experience of living or coming from that culture of Latin America. Um, but is she going to be the best or the epitome of Latino representation? Maybe not. And that's just an issue you're going to have with all representation. It's never going to represent everyone, and especially the people who are most marginalized. So maybe try working for those marginalized people. Is it valid? Yes. Is it the best? No. That's my short answer. Okay. Okay, just taking a quick gander at chat here. Have not been canceled yet. Nothing's falling apart. Okay. Um, Another question from the same person. Do you have a Discord server? Yes, I do. I don't know how to link the Discord. I'm gonna link the Discord server in chat, and you people can come in and mess it all up. We once had an issue with melon spam, so please do not post more than 12 lemons or 12 melons in the chat. I would appreciate that. Okay, it's called Are They Discord? And I'm going to make a shareable link, and I'm going to post it in chat. Expire after never, because you guys are always welcome here. Max number of uses, no limit. And I'm going to generate. Alright. Here you go, friends. I don't know if that lag will work, but whatever. Anyways. Um, Next question. How many years did watching the Supernatural finale take off your lifespan? Um, I think I've become this sort of primordial ooze, um, no longer human, and just sort of a void that sucks in everything around it. So, I don't know. I think I've been destroyed. All right, what have you been watching over the pandemic? Um, I really got into the show Marvelous Miss Maisel. It's a great show. Uh, there's not like there's not like a lot of queer stuff in there. I think I think Susie is should be a lesbian. If she's not, there's no indication yet so far, but she should be a lesbian. I'm just saying. Um, Writers, if you're watching. But I binged it in like 2 weeks, I think, and it was just it's a good show because my aesthetic is like the '60s, and I really like '50s, late '50s, early '60s aesthetics. It's an interesting time period. I also watched Love Victor with my sister. I like that show. He was brown. I'm brown. He was gay. I'm gay adjacent. So it's not like a super profound show. Like if you're looking for the meaning of life in there, um, you're gonna have a hard time extracting that. But it was entertaining. It's good for binging. Good for like chilling with the bros and cracking a cold one and watching Love Victor. All right, next question. Let's check the chat. All right. How's the NB gang in chat? I see you guys are rising up. I encourage you, please rise up. Okay. I think. Okay, next question. I think we could all see that Dean was pushing Cass away. Do you have any idea why the writers decided to be such jerks and give us a douchey hetero jerk? Um, I have not seen. Okay, Supernatural in so long. I didn't watch season 15. I'm not going through that. Why would I put myself through that? Was Dean pushing Cass away? I'm sure he still is the tortured straight boy that he is, okay? Whatever. But I think if you're gonna do that for over a decade, just a little bit. Can we get just a little bit of growth? Okay, I checked out from the show, and Dean is still like a repressed dude, bro. Like I know it's hard for him, but please, just a little bit of love confession, maybe some making out. I don't know, whatever he has to do. Please, just give us a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. Okay. What else? What else could I answer that has not been asked? What event in November has shocked slash affected you the most? Why would you ask that? There was like a slow motion coup going on. I don't know if you heard about that. It's a failure right now, but whatever. That was pretty weird. I don't know. Uh, November was a wacky month. Okay, uh, it's already like the 28th. It's already almost over. It feels like it's been a week, but also like 30 years. I'm just done with November, man. Please get on with December, so I can sing secular holiday songs. Okay, next question. When do you think the Trobed video is gonna be out? Gotta clear my schedule for that day, and you better clear your schedule because it's gonna be like 20 hours long. Okay, you better sit down, take bathroom breaks, pause, drink your tea. This is gonna be a long one. Okay, when is it coming out? The latest is gonna be December 20th because I have a deadline. So look out for it before December 20th. I will probably post a Twitter post in the few days before, like, hey, this is going live. So look out for it. Coming this December. Yeah, okay. Hi. This isn't related to Supernatural. Sorry if this is too personal. But are you in a relationship? I'm in a relationship with crying and my bed, okay? So no. But thanks for your interest. How do you feel about a possible season 5 of Sherlock? Why would I want that? Okay, we've already seen the damage that it's done. We've already seen all of the gay people like lining the path of Sherlock's destruction. Enough. Unless they're coming back like hard with like a gay honeymoon episode. I'm done with BBC Sherlock. Okay. I only read the one from the ancient times. What do you think about Destielgate? They silenced you, and the terrible 2 final episodes. Exactly what I said minutes ago. Terrible. Please get me out of this hell world. There's so many conspiracy questions. You people and your conspiracies. Okay, how we doing in chat? I see Murther. Why is that being brought back? I don't know. Any spam in chat? Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Alright, what's next? Hey, I know you... Okay, this is a request. I'm not gonna read requests for ships, because that's like half my inbox. Please send it in later on after this live stream, but I'm gonna skip those for now. Do you think all the queer baiting is getting out of hand? All the queer baiting. I think it's weird because Supernatural is both like a queer bait and bury your gay at the same time. So we just live in such a weird moment because Rowan Ellis does videos on this. She made the term queer catching, where if I recall correctly, they have like, you'll have a TV show or a movie where it's like ambiguous, and then in the media, in like a headline, someone will say, yeah, they're totally gay, even though there wasn't any hint of it. Just trust me, bro, they were totally gay. And like, yeah, I believe them, but I wanna feel it. I wanna see it. I don't wanna feel it just like an archive of our own comments where everyone else is freaking out over the newest slow burn. Like, I want to feel it when I watch the actual media with the other millions of viewers who are feeling it at the same time. So I think maybe queer baiting is slowly going out of style in favor of this weird purgatory in which people are gay, but like, if you ignored the outside world, you wouldn't know that. It's people will try everything to pretend that they have queer representation aside from just doing it. Like, just give us a little peck on the cheek. Just give us a I love you, my wife or my boyfriend or my partner. I love you romantically. I don't know. You're all writers out there. Do something beautiful, please. All right. Okay, so many Supernatural. Hey there. Okay. It's my boy. My boy put a question in the chat. My boy Crisp Salad. Follow him on everything, I guess. He asked me when the EP is dropping, and if I need that high quality master. If you need high quality masters, everyone, go to Crisp Salad. But my EP is dropping when I feel like it. You can follow me on SoundCloud. All the links are in the descriptions of my videos. You can go to my music channel, which is on the sidebar of my main channel. It's called October Conspiracy. Check it out. Okay. People think, another question. People think I project on characters too much, and it's not really queer baiting in the fiction I consume. Do you think it's possible to project too much? Sending lots of love, thank you, and hope you upload the stream because time differences. Well, I appreciate that. I'll probably upload the stream. Could people project too much? Sure. I mean, people could do whatever they want. Like, sometimes maybe you see too much in places where there isn't. But I don't think that's the case most of the time. Most of the time when I see with the couples that I cover or with the queer things that I see, people, it's usually a mass of queer people going around this piece of media and saying this kind of gay, you know. It's not usually just like one person projecting. If it were projecting, it wouldn't be such a widespread like consensus. Like, yeah, there's something here, and that's just something that we as queer people have learned to pick up on because we have the double sort of vision. We have the queer consciousness because we understand that not everything is heterosexual, and when straight people look at everything through a heterosexual lens, they're not going to pick up on subtle queer things. And a good exercise is to think, if this were a heterosexual pairing, would we see this pairing the same way? Would the media rally around it in the same way? Would people interpret it in the same way? Generally, who knows? I think most of the time, those ships and the pairings that you see have some weight to it. They don't just get pulled out of thin air. I'm sure it's possible to view too much into it, but is that a crime? No. Do whatever you want. What's the crime in projecting too much? Alright. Hey, Alex. No, I'm not gonna answer this. This is a request. If I answer one request, I have to answer all of them. Alright, this is a spicy question. Were you ever homophobic towards someone? Most people have been homophobic at one point, and I'm sure I've unconsciously perpetuated homophobia in some way in my life. I mean, I'm sure everyone has to some extent, just because we're all socialized in a heteronormative homophobic society. But like explicitly, intentionally homophobic, not really. I was a weird kid. I wasn't like bisexual. I didn't identify that way, but it wasn't. I didn't view like same gender relationships in a weird light. It was just like, oh, that exists. That's just like a thing that exists. That's fine. It was never implanted into me. Like, I remember Prop 8 was happening in California, and that was the anti-gay marriage bill. And there was I lived in a conservative area. There was like protests going on in my area, like, oh, we don't want these stinky gay people getting married and following the cultural things that we want. So there was a lot of protests around that, and my dad was like, oh yeah, you shouldn't support gay marriage because like that's like, you know, the Bible is like, it says no. And I was like, proof? And he showed me like this passage, and I was like, oh, word, okay. And I was like 9. I was like 8. Yeah, I was 8, and I was Catholic, as Catholic as an 8-year-old could be. And I just saw that passage. I was like, I don't know, maybe there's something to it. But you know what? I looked at this Bible passage that said, and it's, first of all, it's total bullshit. You could be whatever religion and interpret things usually. It's up to interpretation. The Bible does not inherently condemn LGBT people. It's up to interpretation. But I looked at this passage, and in my head I thought, okay, well, I guess God thinks it's wrong, But I believe in the separation of church and state. I said as an 8-year-old, and so I don't think that's something I should impose on others. So I still support the bill. So since I was 8, I was a little activist. Um, Even if maybe I was a little bit homophobic, repressing myself. Um, but I don't know. I grew out of that when I was like 11, and I was like, oh no, homophobia is stupid. Okay, let's just read this question quick. Okay, so this person asks, I have stopped using they them pronouns online, but I am terrified of asking my family to use neo pronouns for me. I feel like my family endlessly makes fun of me, especially my grandpa, who is obsessed with grammar and is in his 70s. My mom and dad and stepmom and my brother will probably be okay with it, but the rest of them will just be, I'm not sure. I don't know where I'm going. Do you have any advice? Okay, it's just I feel for your situation. I'm sorry you have to go through that. Um, it's just hard with family because every situation is different. So I could never give you like general advice that would work. Um, I mean, if 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 maybe one of your siblings or family members would be okay with it, at least what I would recommend, and don't follow advice on the internet. This is just what I would do in this situation. But I would think about it. Maybe a trusted family member you could open up to about it, and that could be sort of your 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 support system. At least one person, because I remember when I was first coming out and stuff, I had my sister be the person that I would confide in over things about like sexuality and stuff. So just having at least one person in your household. You don't have to come out to everyone at once, and it's all up to you. But just having one person there that you can rely on, it helps a lot. All right, that's my advice. Question: how was your day? Well, my day is just like the past 180 days, where they all just sort of go by in a blur, and I confuse every event that happened, even if they're 30 days apart. They all just happen in the same blur, and my existence is just a blob floating in thin air as I work through the motions like a robot. Um, I spent the last I started at 1 p.m. today writing my essay about prostitutes for my history class. I'm working on sex workers in early 19th century America, in New York. It was fun, but I don't know. Everything's just a blur now. I mean, it wasn't a bad day. It was just like whatever. Gotta do what I gotta do. Gotta do my finals, my homework, whatever. So it was okay. Okay. Have you guys heard of the cult following The Devil Wears Prada? Has which is still growing, apparently even 15 years after its release? Anyway, how do you feel about Mirandi? I don't know any. Okay, listen. I don't know what you just said. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, but whatever it is, as long as it's gay affiliated, I support you, Mirandi. I don't know what that is. Have fun. Have a blast. I hope. Let me look this up. It's not. It's not even coming up. Mirandi. Oh, this looks great. I support you. Go. Please have a blast. Okay. All right. Next question. What would you do if actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf was chasing you through the woods, asking for a friend? If he was chasing me through the woods, he's probably deranged. Probably hasn't eaten in a while. I'd ask him if he needs a ride, or like if he wants to go out for dinner. If I could buy him like a steak. And if he's truly a cannibal, I think those are just rumors. unsubstantiated rumors. But if he truly was a cannibal, then I don't know. It's not for me to judge. All right, another question. I'm a simp for Keira Knightley. True, dude. Okay, whoever sent this in, I agree with you. Keira Knightley, just a wonderful woman. Um, I am a simp. She's great. I love her. Ever since I saw Pride and Prejudice, beautiful. Okay. How hype were you for Adventure Time Obsidian? Okay. Um, I didn't watch it, but was still hyped for it because oh my god, the lesbians, the bisexual, and is Princess Bubblegum a lesbian or is she bi? Either way, I'm just so hyped for all of the sapphic people out there. I'm so happy for you that you got to experience this. Um, just I haven't watched it. I want to. I've just been very busy with Trobed and with you know, crawling on the floor and crying. But you know, I hope I get to watch it soon. I saw clips from it. Looks beautiful. So okay, let's go. Is there a largely non-canon ship you can't get behind or see any tension between, even if people swear by it? Love your vids, by the way. Um, I don't. If there's the only reason that I wouldn't, the only reason I wouldn't get behind something, maybe if it was like weird or like problematic. But most of the time, when I look at queer ships, I never go like no, like it's always like either oh, it's not that I can't get behind it. It's that I'm just either indifferent to it or I support it. Most of the time, I support it because it's like, why am I gonna say no to someone theorizing over two romantically entangled individuals? Like that's not my place to say. So, well, I would say that I don't I don't publicly endorse shipping real people who would see who would be uncomfortable with the shipping, or who there's no like precedent in history of like studying that relationship. So like, let's say you ship two unnamed YouTubers and they're like, hey, we're not comfortable with this, but you still like try to push it real hard in like places where they said they don't want it to be in. Like that's, I don't support people going against what other people aren't comfortable with. But if it's just like people in their own space shipping like a fictional relationship, two people who haven't even met, but I'll still support it if it's a queer fictional ship. If people love it, if it's cute, I don't see anything wrong with it. Okay. All right. So, if Dean had been openly bisexual from the start, how do you think this show would have turned out differently in terms of plot and relationships with other characters? Um, so the thing is, I don't watch Supernatural. I don't know if I've said this, and I probably hate it more than I care. Um, but I still keep up with it. I don't know. It's like a Stockholm syndrome sort of thing. Um, but I do think that it would have been a very different show if there was a main character like Dean who from the beginning had to deal with his sexuality. Now this could have been portrayed in like oh, Dean, you're bi, it's not a big deal, you can still be masked and like repressed, and that doesn't have anything to do with your sexuality. Now that could have been one way it could have gone, but it also could have gone in like they could have explored his sexuality. They could have explored how it relates to his past and his like masculine demeanor, and how that would have been interesting to explore that dynamic. There's a lot of ways they could have taken it, but they decided to just be like, oh, I don't know. I guess like someone's in love with him unrequitedly, but whatever. I don't know. They could have literally done anything else, and it would have probably been better. Okay. All right. Thoughts on recent LGBTQ plus rep in animation? I don't know what you're specifically referring to, but I did touch on this in my last minute gays video. I do like. I've noticed that a lot of cartoons and children's animation will tend to have more like AFAB or female, feminine presenting, Wooloo, sapphic representation over gay men, and that's not a problem per se. Like, more power to all the Wooloos out there with their cartoon representation. That's great, but I I I think it's interesting if we were to like think about why that is. Like, is it because lesbians are seen by writers and producers as more child friendly than gay men, which have historically been seen as predators? If you've ever seen that like 50s info like documentary, and it's like the homosexual is a predator and he's coming, whatever. Like, I wonder if that might be a reason why cartoons tend to be more like lesbian heavy. I think that's interesting. I would like to see like another bubbling esque slow burn, but with two masked people. That would be interesting. Like, we could get the Marshall Lee and Princess Gumball alternative, or like that would be a good special. I would watch that. But yeah, I do I do think that cartoons tend to do better with queer representation. It might be because there's a lot of queer people in cartoons who are like leaders. It might also just be, I don't know. I did a video on comedies and representation, but you could extend that argument to cartoons as well. You could say, oh, cartoons speak to this sort of fantastical, otherworldly thing, so it's really easy to talk about queer people in that context, since it's not connected to like, it doesn't have to be connected to real life hardcore homophobia. I don't know. I like cartoons though. Let's check chat. Someone asks, who worships women? Man, women are great. I would really like to see this a more live version of this chat, because there's a bit of lag, and I wanna interact with the chat a bit more. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next question. Do we stand the rogue Spanish translator? Yes, whoever you are, make yourself known. I have your crown right here. Please. Okay? I do so. Your answer doesn't matter to me, but I would like to know if you do. You got my answer. Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay. Next question. So, thoughts on Shawn Mendes? This has no meaning to it. I just want to hear your thoughts on Shawn Mendes. Um, I don't typically like pop, like really mainstream pop music. Not because it's bad, it's just like not my taste. I will say about Shawn Mendes, he's an attractive man. Shawn, if you're watching this, please DM me. He's a bit long though. I've noticed his face just got longer over the years. I don't know what that's about. He looked pretty just like not long before. He wasn't like a circle, but he was not long. Now he's long. I don't know how he did that. What is your secret, Shawn? Why are you long? Okay. Dean's infamous feminine side is subtle, but it is there. Which scenes are a good example of this? Sam is quite the witch sometimes. Which scenes are good examples of this? I don't know. I don't watch the show, or at least I haven't in like 5 years. I remember, I wouldn't call this feminine per se, but I remember he was like fangirling over Dr. Sexy one time. We all remember Dr. Sexy. I mean, it's not inherently feminine to fangirl over Dr. Sexy, but I would say that it was probably a moment for him where he broke traditionally masculine roles, and he just sort of, I don't know, he just sort of went for it. He embraced that. All right, another question: why is Hannibal getting so popular, RN, right now? I don't know. I'm not like a Hannibal expert. Did Hannibal just recently get put on Netflix or something? Oh shit, I have it. As of June 1st, all 3 seasons of Hannibal are now available on Netflix. So I think it's probably because it's on Netflix now. I did notice a little tiny spike in my viewership for the Hannibal video. Please go watch it. Click the ads. Thank you. Okay. Thoughts on lesbian Annie Edison? I have nothing but positive thoughts, my friend. Annie Edison, please, when they make the movie, please give her the lesbian arc. Britta and Annie, please. Please, okay. No I don't. One question just says R. Thank you for that. The answer is S. Alright. How do you figure out you're LGBTQ? So, I don't think there was ever a moment where I was just like, huh, I'm bisexual. It was just something that, I don't know, I just saw. I just saw both women and men and people of different genders in the media, and I just thought people were attractive, and it didn't really register in my mind like, oh, this is a woman or a man. It was just like, I just found them attractive, and over time I learned, that's bisexual. I guess I'm bisexual. So yeah. Another question: do you watch South Park? What do you think about Creek? I used to watch South Park like in 2017, and before that, I grew up watching South Park. I probably shouldn't have, because that's why I'm so deranged. But there's a lot of things wrong with South Park. A lot of questionable moves. Like, I'm a fan of offensive humor, but it has to be funny. Like, it's not funny if you're just like punching down. Like, it's not funny to me. It's not like I'm crying over it, but have some creativity. And sometimes they don't have as, I think with the more recent seasons, maybe they don't have as much creativity with that. They're also like super centrist. They're like, oh, both sides are idiots. Sometimes they're not both idiots. Sometimes one is a fascist. All right. Okay, this person has multiple questions. The first one is, have you seen Bly Manor? No. No feelings on it. Apparently it has queer women in it, which is what the question's alluding to. I don't know about it. Send it to me. I don't know. Number 2. Do you think your channel may become relevant in the coming years now that explicit queer representation is beginning to outpace more ambiguous representation? Also, really want to thank you for making your videos. Thank you for watching. When I'm having a bad day, they always cheer me up. I don't think it would become irrelevant. So for one, there's a whole history of queer people that goes back. There's a lot of shows from the past that haven't been analyzed yet. I'm never going to run out of content to analyze. And I'm not sure if queer representation, just because we get explicit queer representation, doesn't mean that it's going to be good representation. So if you look at like, what's the company that does representation? Oh my dude. GLAAD, that's what it is. Okay, so if you look at GLAAD, they'll be like, oh, we've reached like 10% of all characters on TV are gay. But then you can't just look at that and just be like, oh, well, I mean that's like the number we should stop at, right? Like, oh, 10% gays, we're fine. But you gotta look at what that is. Like, how many of those people are just like gay white dudes that we've seen for several years? How many of them appear for like one episode? How are those people just like gay white men, or are you gonna see trans people? Are you gonna see people of color? Are you gonna see lesbians? Like, just that raw number doesn't tell us as much as we need to know. And on top of that, is the show good? Like, maybe the representation is super well thought out and really in depth and like really good representation of a marginalized community. But what if it sucks? Cool, I get my 10% of characters, but what if the show freaking sucks? I'm not gonna watch that. Also, like, yeah, yeah. So we're probably gonna run into different types of issues. Uh, Most shows, even if like the character itself is they're an LGBT person, maybe they don't get enough screen time. Maybe when they do get screen time, it's like, I don't know, they only talk about them being gay and they don't get like this sort of in-depth view. So there's probably going to be a lot of issues I'll get to focus on. And I'm probably not going to do Are They Gay Forever, as much as it might hurt all of you. Like, when I'm a 50-year-old anarchist activist who cooed the U.S. government and took over, like, I'm not going to be doing Are They Gay then. But I don't think it'll be because I run out of content. And I don't know if explicit representation is outpacing ambiguous, because what you're getting right now is a lot of queerbaiting. In the past wasn't ambiguous representation. It was the hope of representation. It was the hope that something will happen. But now we get this weird ambiguity where something happens, but no one knows what's going on. Supernatural, for example. So I feel like usually homophobia doesn't just like stop and like it's over. Usually things like oppression, they evolve with the times, and try to it finds ways to adapt to the time period. So there's a lot of resilience to those kinds of oppressions, and I don't think it's just gonna go away in like one generation. Okay. Who is your favorite LGBT ship of any show? Kirk and Spock, like I said. Another question. Yo, have you heard / are you thinking about the Uni on Ice / Ice Adolescence trailer? I'm so happy. I miss Yoi so much. Um, I saw the trailer. It was just Victor like being a magical gay. I don't know if is it gonna be good or not. I don't know. I'll probably watch it. We'll see what happens. I was a huge stan back in high school. I really liked it, just because it felt very fresh. I don't know if they're gonna pull it off this time, but we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. No arms this time. Okay, lots of requests. Controversy, supernatural. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is your gaydar? Alright, so for men, my gaydar, it's pretty good. I like to think so. Usually, I get it right. With all of the complexities of that, I'm like, oh yeah, that person is bisexual, but they had to go through this sort of phase in college, but then they met the love of their life in a coffee shop, and then that's when it really hit them. So like I can scalp out a man with surgical precision, but when it comes to other genders, not as good. Um, Maybe just like I haven't experienced that a lot. I am a man, so maybe because I'm a man that helps, but I'm not sure. So my gaydar for men, like 10 out of 10, but for everyone else, not as good. The thing about my gaydar though is that I have this curse that if you hang around me for too long, you just like you end up coming out as some form of like LGBTQ. Uh, Lots of people start being my friend in totally like non-queer contexts. I just meet them. Eventually, a decade later, they tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm totally gay." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna say I knew, but the curse has been there." Okay, the curse. You have to know about the curse. All right. Are you is really gay? Nope. But in theory, I'm theoretically gay, practically bisexual. Are you single? What happened to Brian? I am single. Uh, that has nothing to do with Brian though. We were never lovers. We actually queer baited the Are They Gay audience. I actually didn't want it to be queer baiting because we alluded to our relationship so much that I was like, I can't queer bait my own audience if if that's the thing I talk about. So we did have that confirmation kiss in the Dre video, but me and Brian are just bros, platonic best friends. Brian, he's a complicated dude. Who knows what he'll be in 10 years after the curse sort of sets in, but for now, we're just bros being bros, cracking a cold one with the bros. Um, but yeah, he's all the way across the country, and I'm also all the way across the country for school. So we see each other during summer, and we'll see each other this winter. Might be back for a video. Okay. What's your opinion on LGBTQ plus representation in books? Is there a good amount of it? Not enough? Is it mostly positive representation? I'm asking this because I'm non-binary, and I think many media sources see pride as a gay thing. I don't see many non-cisgender characters, and that makes me sad. Is there any books that you think have good trans representation? Um, I don't read a lot of fiction books. I have a whole bunch of I have a whole bunch of nonfiction books here. This camera is sitting on a book called A Portrait of a Woman in Silk. It's a history book. I'm not I'm not big into like the my favorite book of all time though is James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room. I think maybe literature might be a bit different than media because media is for like mass media, like TV and film. That's for mass consumption. But literature, you can distribute in small circles. You can self-publish. It's a little bit easier to like get into it. Whereas a film, you need a camera, you need actors, you need to write the script. With a book, you can just like write the script. I'm sure there's more that goes into it, but the entrance into writing, um, anyone can sit down and write, theoretically. So I think in the past there have been more like edgy marginal movements, and in that there's been some queer representation uh, in those sort of circles. So I don't know how you say his name. Gore Vidal, he was gay, or he was bisexual. I'm sorry, I just erased my own identity, but he was bisexual, and he wrote LGBT characters. But a lot of James Baldwin wrote gay stories. Um, it's interesting though. He was super into like anti-racist activism and like philosophy and stuff. But the characters in his book are there are two white guys in Giovanni's room, and that I don't think that's because James Baldwin like wanted to write about white guys, but I think that shows that just because it's like two white guys doesn't mean it can't explore how racial oppression and stuff mixes into it, because you do see that in the book. Um, so I think there's a lot of older books with the beatniks, like the 60s and stuff, where there was some queer writing. I'm sure in the 80s there was a lot of queer writing that a lot of authors that you don't even know. So you would have to really look for it. For mainstream sort of right now, like young adult novels, I'm not big into like YA stuff. There was this one book about a trans guy I read called Spy Stuff by Matthew J. Metzger. I thought it was cute. Nice little like gay relationship there, and it goes into like the trans experience. That might be an interesting book for you. It's not non-binary representation. I think there was one, but I don't remember the name of it. It's where someone was like the kid of a politician. I don't know if it's good or not. I have not looked into it. Someone in the chat probably knows it, but I don't have a lot of knowledge on books and stuff from like today. Which Catradora scene was your favorite of them all? Is that even a question? Like when she's like holding she's like reaching up. I love you. Beautiful. So beautiful. And also just if you put every Hayadora together, that's my favorite scene. Hayadora. Beautiful. Okay. I just finished watching Good Omens, and I am broken. Anyways, what are your thoughts on the co-author of the original Good Omens book confirming that the TV series was a love story on Twitter after the show aired? I really like Good Omens. I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed doing that video, whereas with like Teen Wolf, I literally wanted to die. But watching Good Omens, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's just so frustrating because like I know that these authors usually have good intentions. They don't come in going, haha, I'm not gonna represent the gays. Like they come in with good intentions. They write really good shows. You get a really nice like love story, but you never get the kiss or like I'm in love with you. Maybe you'll get an I love you, but you'll never get like I'm in love with you. Like if you watch Good Omens, people will be like, oh, it's obvious like they were in love with each other. Also, like they're angels. They're not gay or anything. You can't say this is like gay representation gone wrong. Like you can't do this. And I'm like, why does this happen? Like every time that there's a so-called love story in these shows, it never goes that extra mile and slow burn. And I think that was really good with Catradora because that wasn't like that show wasn't about gay things. It was about gay things, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't about gay things as a concept. It was about like Shira and whatever, that whole world, but it had that love story at the center that just happened to be a queer love story, and I think that would have been so good for Good Omens. And I don't think that Neil Gaiman had bad intentions or he doesn't like the gay community or anything, as far as I know. But it just would have been really nice to get that, just get a confirmation and not let like my boomer grandparents be like, oh, how the friends, the nice friends. Like I just please come on, just something. Question: would you ever write a book? Of course, I would write a book. Would it be good? I'm not sure. I've thought about writing books. I've written fan fiction. If you want to look at my archive of our own account, there's Turtleneck. Don't read anything. It's awful. I like writing fiction when I have a lot of free time. I somehow end up getting into McLennan fan fiction. Uh, but I'm think I'm better at nonfiction writing, um, especially since I do a lot of it at school. Always been better at nonfiction writing. Maybe I would write like a nonfiction book, uh, like a queer history book or something like that. Maybe not even queer history. Maybe it's my own communist manifesto. Who knows? Okay. Next question. Any coming out ideas for gays? So coming out, I can never answer this question. It's always personal, always about the specific situation you're in. Like clever ideas, I don't know, like you could hire like an airplane to put a banner in the sky that says I'm gay. You could, if you want to come out as bi, you could say like, oh, I love acid wash jeans, and then you can turn them up real high and eat a lemon bar and then invite your friend to play The Sims 3 with you, and then they'll know. But that depends on you, my friend. Is Drary a good ship or nah? Is it a good ship? How do you define a good ship? Is it good shit? It's good shit. But is it a good ship? I can't. That's always up to the individual whether it is a good ship or not. That is up to you. Okay? Does it fulfill that sort of hole in your heart? Then it's a good ship for you. If it makes you cry and pull your hair out like Voltron, then it's garbage. It's hot garbage. It's up to you, my friend. This question, do you still read fanfics or have you grown out of it? Now that I'm 22, a lot of the old fics I used to love when I was a teenager just seem plain ridiculous / unintentionally hilarious. Let me drink my water. So usually during the summers when when I have a lot of free time, I somehow get back into fan fiction. But over the years, it's been a lot harder to find like real good fics. Like here, at school, I have to read the classics, the greatest writers, the best, the cream of the crop here. And like you go from that to like reading something, and I speak from experience, that like some 14-year-old middle schooler in the middle of a sexuality crisis wrote. And it's like, it's not gonna be the cream of the crop, Now there are some hidden gems there. Like, I'm surprised by some of the wonderful talent that there is in fan fiction communities. There are a lot of authors got their start writing fan fiction, so there is good stuff out there. But I would say it's exhausting to have to go through what's good or not, because there's not like reviews or anything. You get comments, but they're not like honest reviews about the work, so it just gets more like exhausting to have to go through through sorting through what's good and what's not. I don't think there's any shame in reading fan fiction. There's no shame in reading fan fiction until like your middle ages, until you're elderly. Like, people read 50 Shades of Grey for a long time. There was plenty of 40-year-olds living vicariously through 50 Shades of Grey. That is a fan fiction. I mean, I'm not gonna judge them. Do whatever makes you happy, as long as it's not like destructive to yourself or others. Do what makes you happy. Okay, fave/least favorite media trope. Okay, I hate watching like a show from the 2000s. I don't know if this is my least favorite, but I don't like this. I hate watching a show from the 2000s, and like your only gay representation is this like white gay twink with bleached hair, and he's super femme, and he's always the butt of the joke. It's just really annoying. I want something more. Okay, I want a gay character who's more than than to be the gay. I want this person to be a person who is gay, not a not just like a walking stereotype. So maybe that's like an amalgamation of all the stereotypes put together. Yeah, I just want diverse. I want diverse representation. Is that so hard to ask for? Okay, here's a question: Hannibal season 4 or the total destruction of Supernatural? Listen, as much as I hate Supernatural, we need season 4. Okay, I need to know what happens after. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I need to know what happens. Okay. I know gay things are happening. I know people are eating other people over romantic candlelight dinners. Okay, and they will be kissing afterwards and love, pure love. I want that cannibal love. I want to know what happens. Hannibal was one of the shows I enjoyed most doing a thing about, because it's a really good show. I really liked it. I really hope we get what we deserve. Alright, more questions. Hi, I'm just here to appreciate you. Thank you! Thank you. And just to remind you all, as we are in the thick of it, please subscribe to Are They Gay right now? If you're watching, subscribe. Are you subscribed? No? Do it. So please subscribe. Remember to follow Are They Gay on Twitter at Are They Gay, Tumblr aretheygayvideos.tumblr.com, and Instagram _Are They Gay _. All right. Let's wade through these questions. Lots of these I've already answered. Where's Brian? And it's spelled incorrectly. It's okay. I don't blame you. So much Supernatural. Why? Why so much Supernatural? Say peanuts without the T. Pianos. I tuned in a bit late. So many. Hi, I wonder if you've seen Revolutionary Girl Utina? No, but a lot of people request that I think about it, and I'm thinking about it. Might do a video on it. I don't know anything about it. How do you feel / what are your thoughts about bi-erasure in media? Bi-erasure is just so terrible. Like, you watch a piece of media, people are like, oh, that character's into the same gender now. Oh, they're gay. They just come out as gay now. It's so hard for like fictional characters to just be written to just say I am bisexual. Why can't you just please identify as bisexual, like a proud freaking bisexual? Okay. I also see it a lot from people on the outside. Just like when I'm looking at like forum posts, like people asking why don't you like this gay ship? And then people in the comments will be like, oh, well, these people aren't gay. They have like wives and girlfriends. Have they shown interest in women? And I'm like, do you just not believe in bisexuals? Like, what's going through your head that you think, oh, this person likes a woman? This person is straight. They could never. And I'm like, they could. I have. I could ever, okay? So please don't leave out the bisexuals. All right. Love your work. Was there any form of queerbaiting in terms of character or romance that was the most emotionally impactful for you? Like anything that was particularly disappointing? Also, was there any real representation that was the most emotionally impactful for you, positive or negative? So I'm pretty pessimistic. So when I see like queer baiting in action, I'm like, that's not gonna happen. But for a while, I was into uh, TJLC. Uh, I did. I There was just like a sliver of hope in me that thought, John Locke, no, but maybe. And that small maybe is very dangerous because more often than not, that maybe just gets just crushed by capitalism. Okay, uh, so when I saw that, like after that one episode premiere where they like hug each other and that was all over Tumblr, I was furiously checking Tumblr like, oh my god, did it happen? Is it going that way? I was like, oh my god, it might actually happen. Didn't happen. Um, I wouldn't say I was surprised. Um, that it so basically just disappointed but not surprised. They had all these people who queer bait. They have such great stories to work with, such great slow burns, romantic build up, and then they just throw it away. Um, Maybe they just want to stand by their guns and be like, "Yep, nope, I wrote these characters to be straight, and I'm standing by that." That's why something like Bubbling, it was really great to see the writers of a show be like, "Oh, this kind of is a love story," and we kind of wrote it in a way that really makes it seem to be a love story. And I'm really glad that they acknowledged that at least and wrote it into the show. Was there any real representation that was emotionally impactful for you, positively or negatively? Real representation. Honestly, the Getting By video, the Getting By music song from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when Daryl came out as bisexual. It's just I spent so long people being like, are gay, straight, no in between. Oh, this representation. Oh, this guy's coming out as gay. It's over. He's a homosexual. It's like, for once, just like the bisexuals really got what they deserve, and not just like it wasn't just about him being bisexual, but it's that they had this really big music video and the song it's just a bop, and like it felt really nice to have that there. Um, I really enjoyed that. All right, next questions. How do you feel about queer representation for comedy purposes, such as only putting someone in a show or movies just to make jokes on the fact that they're gay? Well, obviously, I don't think that's a good thing. Like, you should write your characters, and just like in real life, some of them are going to be gay or bi or trans or whatever. So it shouldn't be like a joke. Um, there's nothing wrong with talking about. You could totally make jokes and like make gay jokes, but they shouldn't be like punching down jokes, because like I make gay jokes in my videos, but they're obviously they're jokes that the community recognizes and is like, yeah, haha, I relate to that. So like there's nothing wrong with having queer people represented, but also having this comedic aspect to it. There's nothing wrong with making gay jokes as long as um, it's not it's not the butt. It's as long as the butt of the joke isn't just haha they're gay. Like, first of all, it's not funny, and like it perpetuates this idea that just someone being gay is worth laughing at. So it's fine to have, your gay jokes and stuff, but the butt of the joke should never be someone's sexuality. It should be just have queer people exist like we exist in real life. We should exist on screen. Not hard. Thoughts on characters using labels versus not using labels in the show, as well as how M-spec and A-spec characters are headcanon versus portrayed canonically. What is M-spec? I'm sorry, I don't... Oh, Ace? M-spec. Multi-attraction spectrum. Okay, I would need to read more about this term. Oh, so M-spec is like people attracted to more than one gender? If only chat wasn't lagging, so chat could tell me everything. I don't know about that question, but what was the first part? On using labels versus not using labels. Just there's no one way to do your LGBT plus representation. We need a mix of all different types of representation. We need the ones where they're really explicit about their labels because, you know, people really they find comfort in seeing those labels on screen and being said out loud. And we need realistic representation, and that comes with the tragedies. Like, gay people die sometimes. The AIDS epidemic was a big deal in the gay community that shouldn't be erased from the timeline. But at the same time, if you have too much of one thing, that's where you get problems, because then other people and queer people only see this one side of themselves. So I don't think you should look at a show and say, oh, this person doesn't use labels, that's problematic. I think that you should have a more balanced view. It isn't just about one individual character, it's about the whole the whole of representation. I think that a lot of the times in kids shows and stuff like that, the characters won't use labels, and that's fine for some shows. I think it would be nice to have like one show where there is like a queer centric plot line, not just romantically, but someone who's dealing with their sexuality or their gender identity. I think Andy Mack did that, where the kid was like, I'm gay, or I don't know if did he say I'm gay, or did he just say he liked that one guy? But I think it's good to have those storylines. It shouldn't be your only arc. Like, the queer person's arc shouldn't just be come out and then that's their only character development. You need a variety, because in the same way that all your straight characters get a variety of arcs, give your queer characters their variety as well. They're just people. They live vastly diverse lives. Alright. Okay, I'm just refreshing. Oh my god. Okay. It's a lot of questions. Let's try to figure out where I was. Not a request really, but will there be any vids about smaller fandoms and or pairings? A lot of, I don't know what you mean by like smaller fandoms or pairings, because some of the things that I do a video on, like the fandom isn't big, but like the piece of media is big. So let's say the High School Musical video, I haven't seen like a big fandom around Chad and Ryan in the same way you'll see like you saw like John Locke back in the day, or Destiel. So that didn't really have a big fandom, but a lot of people know High School Musical, so that's why you get a lot of people watching. Now these videos are long, they take a long time to make, do a lot of research for them. So I would want to do a mix of what all of you want to see and a mix of what I like. So if there's like a small passion project I have, maybe I'll do that, but I try to stick to what people recommend and what people want to watch, because if I'm going to invest a bunch of time into writing these things, I think that your guys' opinion should be a factor in it. What do you think about the representation around on the Owl House? I have not seen the Owl House, but I have seen like the scenes where the representation happens. I think it was what I saw was good. I don't really see anything wrong with it. I really like the way that it's not like a last minute or last season thing. I like how it's gonna develop over time, and I'm just here to see how it goes. I have no qualms against it, and I'm pretty optimistic that we'll get explicit representation. It doesn't seem like they're just gonna say, oh, they were in love, probably. It seems pretty explicit. Okay, going through thoughts on the Goofy movie. Thinking about that pizza in the Goofy movie. Okay. Yeah. Okay, serious question. Which are more gay in your opinion, vampires or werewolves? Okay. So there's a history here of lesbian vampires. If you go back and like look at film history, there's a trope of making vampires in movies lesbians or having like a queer coded lesbian vampire because as history reveals, a lot of people back in that day and still now, but there was a trope that queer people are like predators and stuff. So they made a lot of lesbian vampires that prey on young women, so to say. But I think that lesbians and Wooloos and sapphic people are reclaiming that now. And I think it's good that we have our good lesbian vampire uh, representation now. Werewolves are kind of gay because I don't know. Jacob was like shirtless all the time, and they just like run around with their bulging muscles, like in the same way comic books are kind of gay. It's kind of gay. I still think vampires are more gay. Okay, so this person says, as someone who is also in the middle of the spectrum when it comes to sexuality and romantic attraction, though very homo slash woma flexible and demi, I've had a very fluid experience with my identity and question the labels I've used for myself. I am also genderqueer and possibly non-binary. I end up using a lot of different labels that some people may say don't go together, like bi and lesbian, etc., but they all work for me. Have you ever questioned your sexuality or used multiple /change labels? I wouldn't say I've. Well, first of all, you just use whatever label you feel comfortable with. Like, it's not up to anyone else to decide what label you should use because you know what your experience is. So, more power to you with all those labels that you feel comfortable with. For me, I wouldn't say I've questioned my sexuality. I've only questioned it as a concept. I always knew I was attracted to people regardless of gender. Um, the only time I've ever flipped on a label is using pansexual versus bisexual. I mean, theoretically, I could identify as pansexual because I don't. My attraction isn't related to people's gender. Um, but I don't know. I found the bisexual label. I don't know. It feels better for me. It feels more comforting. I like the community a lot. Um, so there's plenty of reasons to change whatever labels you use. That doesn't mean you're not valid. That just means at that time you feel a certain way and it expresses how you feel best at that time. And if someone tells you you're wrong for that, then they're wrong. So just tell them to piss off or whatever. I don't have patience for you people, but yeah, good for you for sticking to whatever labels you feel comfortable with. All right, next question. When are you doing Swan Queen? I've put Swan Queen on the polls so many times, and people just don't vote for it as much as the other things. I don't know. Maybe you people should vote for Swan Queen. Maybe you should canvass your local Tumblrinos and tell them, hey, Have you heard of your Lord and Savior Swampy? You know? Think about it. Think about it. Alright. Queer books. Are we talking about queer books? My skincare routine? I don't. I don't have one. I might. I use like a Korean cream that my sister recommended, but that's only because I'm on this acne medication, and it's pretty rough and it makes me really dry. I'm a low maintenance kind of guy, okay? You wouldn't think I have the personality I do that I actually have. I'm different in real life than my YouTube videos. I'm just like a dude bro slob. It's good ethnographic work though. All my dude bro friends, I know how they think, okay? Alright. Next question. I don't know if this is common for Wooloo and MLM, so women who love women and men who love men, but do you know that thing where you feel extra bad about your own body image because you don't feel good looking enough compared to all these people you find very attractive? Yeah, I think I felt that sometimes. Um, I'll I'll be like, oh, that dude's super attractive, and that's something that queer people, I think that's a unique experience where you're both attracted to someone and you want to like form a connection with them, but at the same time you sort of project your own body image onto them as well because you know you have the same gender identity. I don't know what I don't know if there's anything to combat that specifically, but I think just generally trying to be more positive about yourself and your body and trying to get that self-validation and not from others, I think that might help you. But I don't know how to help that problem specifically. I've definitely felt it before, but I don't know. I just repress all my emotions. Do not recommend that. Do you like the movie Fried Green Tomatoes? Haven't seen it, but I know it happens. I know the lesbians are just excited. All right. Next question. Who is Anderson? Okay. Anderson asked, did you watch Misha's speech about Castiel's love reveal? Is it the one where he said he's homosexually in love? Or he homosexually said his declaration? The Zoom call? Or the one where he posted on Twitter? I don't know how that changes the story. All Misha's doing is damage controlling everything. I can't say anything about that. We don't know the truth. We only know damage control. Okay. 2020, The Boys in the Band. So The Boys in the Band, they want to know my thoughts on this. The Boys in the Band was a 1970, I think it was a play before, but there was a 1970 film. It was one of the first mainstream gay films, and I guess there's a reboot now, which I haven't seen. Look, it's Sheldon and Spock. I might watch that. Thank you for reminding me that exists. Oh my god. Okay. More questions. Do you think LGBT rep has to be positive to be good? I know not everyone agrees, but I always find it weird how some think LGBT rep is only valid if the characters in question are good people, and it always fell off to me. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I don't think LGBT rep should be so limited. What are your thoughts? I totally agree that we should have a variety of LGBT characters because the end goal is to try to get it's to try to humanize and normalize LGBT people. within a liberative context, if you will, but still try to get that sort of feeling that queer people are just like everyone else. They're not different. They might have different experiences, but inherently they're not different than any other person. They're they're people. They make mistakes. They have flaws. They can be evil. They can do bad things. They can be problematic. They can also be good people. They could do great things. They can be super successful. Um, but it's a difficult line to draw because you have this history of villains being queer coded, and you don't have a lot of very positive sort of queer representation that isn't objectifying. Like, oh, he's gay. Wow, there's our token gay. Like, you don't get a lot of in-depth positive representation, so it's hard to cross that line to in-depth negative representation. But if we truly, the true end goal is to get a variety of representation. So I think we have to be conscious of is that when you're writing a bad character who's a bad person and who's also LGBT, you got to make sure that you aren't playing into these tropes and because these tropes, what they do is associate queerness with being bad. So, for example, the lesbian vampires. There's nothing wrong with a vampire being a lesbian, but if you have this trend of the vampires' lesbianism being connected to the monster that is portrayed, if you have that lesbian identity connected to the predatory nature, linked to how that person is seen, that's an issue. But if you have a well-written villain who is a vampire and just happens to be a lesbian, I mean, that's not bad. Like, I want to see a lesbian vampire villain who's in depth and who's a complicated character, just like I want to see any complicated character. But I especially want to see queer people in a variety of ways. Okay. Next question. Next question. Oh my god. Okay. Have you gotten anywhere in your search for Beetle_boot? People, I reached a wall in like October and I've been so busy I couldn't search more for Beetleboot. Apparently, this person a long time ago said, I want to be private. I don't want to post like I don't want my fan fiction. I don't know. They want to be more private. They don't want. I don't know what happened. I just don't know what happened. But Beetleboot, if you are out there, I respect your privacy. But if in some way you've changed your mind, or if you could just share me, blame Elvis. If you can just send that to me, please. That was a great fan fiction. It's a great piece of writing. I really just want to read that work again. And if you're out there, I'd be more than willing to do a video on it because I think that this whole McLennan thing is fascinating. Okay, I think this search for this fan fiction has taken me in crazy places. Beetleboot, if you're out there, please contact me. If you want me to never talk about this again, great. Just please let me know. Contact me. If you have Blame Elvis, if you have a copy, I would appreciate you sending a file. But thank you for all you've done for the McLennan people of the past. Shout out to LiveJournal in like 2011, my old past. But thank you Beetleboot, if you're out there. All right. I'm sorry if this is a rude question. This is a good follow-up. But how come you are into the Beatles fic when you don't like shipping real people? So I think there's a distinction. I don't say that I don't like people shipping real people, like in general. I think that there's certain situations where it's more okay than other situations. For example, John Lawrence and Alexander Hamilton. These guys are dead. Historians have been studying them for hundreds of years. If there's a historical precedent of people studying the life of someone, then I have no problem with people shipping like historical characters. And then there's another layer. Alexander Hamilton is never gonna watch my video. Paul McCartney, never gonna watch that old terrible video I did. It doesn't have a lot of views. He has like a life. He's not gonna watch that. That video is not gonna make impact on the world. And the Beatles fandom, the McLennan fandom is very. They're not like Paul and that fandom. Like they're not gonna intersect ever. And there's a big precedent in history of people studying the Beatles. So you have that precedent already set. What I don't think is as good. I think that if you're like in your own personal space, it's fine to like ship people in your head, write fan fiction about it, and like share it in the tiny community. But sometimes it gets to the point where people are uncomfortable, where the fan fiction might make the actual people uncomfortable, and if their entire fandom is shipping them and they're really not comfortable with that, then that's when it crosses that line and becomes a problem. Usually it's easy to see where that line is, especially if the people involved have said like, please don't do this publicly. So there's nothing wrong inherently with shipping real people as long as you know they're far removed from like Tumblr and YouTube and they're not going to be affected by it. But if this is something that's going to affect them a lot and might have a bad impact like on their mental health, like I don't think that's a good idea. Who's Anderson? Is this from Sherlock Anderson? Mr. Anderson from The Matrix? Who? Why? What happened? Okay. Alright, so let's see. New question. Okay. We did get a few super chats. Let me just read these quick. From Yellow Giraffe Gal. Thank you for the, I don't know what currency that is, for the 1,000 hoof. Thank you for all the awesome content. Lots of love from Hungary. Thank you for watching this channel. And I give Hungary love back. Alright. Auden Pels, $5. Thank you so much for your vids. As much as it hurts to say, I'm a Supernatural fan. Don't at me. Anyways, thanks so much. P.S. Please answer Anderson. Okay. Thank you for that. I don't know what happened to Anderson. Okay. Let's see. New questions. There's just so many Supernatural questions. Can I have a kiss? I don't know. Pull up. Maybe we'll see what happens. Have I eaten yet? Actually, I have not eaten yet. Okay. Alright. So, that's a lot. Let me refresh, see if there's any spicier questions. We're nearing the end of this old live stream here. I don't know why chat. Okay, I'm getting a lot of Anderson questions now. What is... Okay. AOC times Ben Shapiro? Please, don't. Okay. Okay, here's one that's Supernatural related, but not like the same. Even though critically, I know the queer representation in Supernatural is bad, I can't help feeling happy that Cass is queer. He has always been my favorite character, and I have also thought he was in love with Dean.
I think I should be more mad about everything happening with the show, but I'm not. How do you think about the positive reaction to Destiel? Um, I don't think there's any problem if you see like a character and you're like, yeah, I feel represented by that character. Um, there's nothing wrong with that. Like people shouldn't be saying, oh, you're bad for liking this character and liking that representation. Um, if there's a difference between being like, yeah, I really like this representation personally, and being like, oh yeah, this is the epitome of the best representation ever. I'm sure you wouldn't say like that's the best representation, but if you feel really represented by him, there's nothing wrong with that. I also every time I see like queerness in some way, even if it's like unconfirmed, I feel a little bit connected to it in some way. I'm like, oh, just to think that someone is going through the same thing I am, it feels good to some extent. So I don't think you should feel ashamed about that or anything, and people shouldn't shame you for that. Is the audio only playing in one headphone, or is it just right sided? Hello. Okay. Um. What's my favorite video I've done? Let me look back on my videos. It might be. It might perhaps be. It might possibly be. It might theoretically be. So there's a difference. Which one I find most enjoyable for myself, which one I had the most fun making. I think the most fun I've had making one is probably Hannibal, because I really like the show. Short, nice video. I think it's a cool video. It's a funny video. My favorite video overall? Um, I don't know. Maybe it's the Marsha P. Johnson tribute I did, the music one. I like the song I wrote for that. Okay, more questions. Do you think I could go through life with just not coming out to family who are extremely homophobic? I mean, that's up to you. Um, but I will say that will be very difficult, and maybe you're able to sustain that for yourself. And if you choose to do that, there's no shame in that. But um, it is very difficult to have that over your shoulders, and you might go on and think, what if? What if I had that support system? What if they were accepting of me? Um, a lot of homophobic parents change over time, especially after realizing that one of their family members is gay or not straight, or so I think you just have to weigh it for yourself. I could never answer that question, but it's not hopeless. If you do decide to do it and it goes bad, it might go bad for a bit, but it might get better later on. But if it's a dangerous situation, that's different also. So if it's really hard to say, it really depends on your situation. So many Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Who's spamming that? I haven't seen the show the animated show. I haven't read the comics. I just know that they're in love, and I don't need the validations of mainstream media to know that. Is it okay to ship old people since they don't know how to use the internet? I don't know if that's the reason it's okay to ship old people, but there's nothing wrong with looking at fictional old people and being like, oh, maybe they're in love. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Aziraphale and Crowley, they're like 9,000 years old or whatever. Maybe millions, who knows? I don't know. They're pretty old. I still ship it. Okay. What are some popular ships that you view as toxic? Um, there may be fandoms that are toxic and like communities and ways of looking at ships that are toxic, but a lot of the times there are healthy ways to enjoy or appreciate stories that aren't like ideal relationships. So it's not something that you should like idealize and say this is the best representation of what a relationship should be. But if you like those dynamics and you consume them in a healthy way and don't like parade them as the best of the best in terms of what a relationship should look like, then maybe there isn't like maybe there isn't a toxic ship. There's just a toxic way of approaching it. You can make any ship toxic if you really try real hard. Lots of toxic stuff going on in the John Locke community. Even if it's a great ship, toxic things going on. I just got here, so I apologize if this was axed. Do you have any plans for a new Are They Gay video? Or maybe an updated Destiel video? I love your work. It inspires me, gets me to laugh, and helps me to teach my family. The updated Destiel video has been online for like 3 years. It's called Are They Gay? Dean and Castiel Part 2. Check it out. But no, I'm not touching that ever again. It's over. Unless some wild shit happens, it's over. Okay, and the next Are They Gay video, like I said, Trobed from Community. It's happening this December. Let's get on it. You guys in the chat want a Discord link? There you go. Alright, so interesting. Would have liked to interact with the chat more, but there is unfortunately a lag there. Yeah. But anyways, you can join the Discord. I sent the link in the chat. Please join. We can talk about gay things. We can humor ourselves and delude ourselves. We got another super chat from Thomas Mundo, who gives a thumbs up. Thank you, Thomas. Why? And the Discord has already been infiltrated by Anderson simps. You crazy kids. Alright. Well, anything else we want to talk about today? Okay, so this has been great, my friends, but it's been about 2 hours. I think I'm gonna call it quits. I haven't eaten. This was fun though. I'll do it again sometime in the future. Drop that Discord link again. But what you should do right now, subscribe. If you are not subscribed, then what are you doing with your life? Please subscribe right now. Get us to 250,000 homosexuals. Please. Follow me on Twitter @AreTheyGay. Tumblr, aretheygayvideos.tumblr.com, and Instagram _aretheygay_. If you want to check out my music, it's pretty good. Go to my side channel. If you go to the main channel, it's on the sidebar. It's called October Conspiracy. You can also look it up. if you feel like doing it. I might upload a new song soon. But thank you for joining me for these Q&GAY live stream. I really enjoyed your questions. Hopefully we do this again in the future. And yeah, it's been good. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the merch. teespring.com/r- wait, it's the wrong link. teespring.com/stores/r-they-gay. Okay? Check out the merch. It's also pinned on the side. You can get Bisexual Disaster. You can support the homosexual agenda. Okay? Please. Anything else? No? Okay. Subscribe, merch, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, music. Thank you. This has been great. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye.